10 seconds. Orange's turn to ban.
Hello and welcome back to the RedBull ECL 2013 Group C play in the group stage, brought to you by Beyond the Summit 2. My name is Vikrabond. I'm joined once again by Baseskip. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Hope it's not too early for you.
It's so early it wraps all the way around to not being that early because it's actually the previous day very late. So it's okay.
Okay.
It's
okay, that's not so bad. So I was wondering.
Yeah, I got about 3 hours, which is not too bad. I've certainly done worse, especially back in college. So, no problem here. We are going to see ErH versus Orange, and this is, of course, day 3, so day 3 of 5 for Group C group stage play. We do have 5 teams. Originally, I believe we had scheduled 6 teams, but one dropped. DB actually dropped from the tournament, and so Group C consists of 5 teams. Orange, Rising Stars, of course, obviously the 2 favorites to take those 2 spots out of Group C to advance. And then the underdogs, ErH, CCKD, and NA. At this point, I would say NA basically out of the running. They have really struggled. We, of course, had a chance to cast a game between them and CCKD yesterday, which was unfortunately quite one-sided and not in favor of NA, but these 2 underdogs still in the running. ErH will have to see how they do today, really. This is more or less put up or shut up time. They did lose to Rising Stars yesterday, 2-0, a game that I didn't quite get to watch, but I did see some of the results. They definitely put up a fight. So it is within their ability, I think, to maybe at least take the game off of Orange, and we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the standings, it doesn't give away too much. Like you said, it looks like NA are pretty much out of it. They were losing to both of the other, I guess, not the star teams in the group. So yeah, I think they're probably done. But again, yeah, ErH and CCKD probably in with a bit of a chance. And again, I didn't get to watch the matches yesterday either, so I'm looking forward to seeing perhaps a new team. Maybe some new strategies.
Yep.
Or maybe, overall just want to see some nice Dota.
Maybe CCKD will run Sniper Timbersaw and Babe
Sniper
solo
Timbersaw.
mid against Rising Stars. We'll have to see what comes out from that. But Orange, and they take this Nature's Prophet quite early, and I've seen them do this a little bit recently. What do you think this signals from this? This just a personal preference?
I think it's just because Ohio is so good on the hero. I mean, he's one of the few players where I see the Nature's Prophet and I'm like, okay, that's an actual offlane Nature's Prophet. He'll pick up regen early. He's a real pain because he does a really good job in terms of blocking out the pull camps with the treants just every single time, very consistently. I think I saw him, every minute on the minute for 8 minutes. He had the treants in position to block 2 camps when he's on the offlane. So it's not just a jungle. It's not just a concession to sit back and farm. He gets a lot done when he's on that offlane. So yeah, I really don't mind that. It is just, I think, a player compatibility thing that they've got going.
Sure. And they also get themselves a Lifestealer, so I guess in that case it's most likely going to be that offlane Nature's Prophet on the bottom, and then some sort of Lifestealer-based tri-lane. Of course, ErH, you see them already taking out 2 supports. Visage climbing into sort of a first ban role more and more by a lot of teams. IO also sometimes being banned early, even in the sort of Eastern Asian scene. I think ErH might be... I don't think Orange actually run IO all that much, but I do know that Rising Stars run it a lot, so maybe ErH still reeling from a little bit of IO use yesterday. This Tinker, on the other hand, very much an Orange targeted ban.
Yeah, definitely one of their heroes. One thing that I've been noticing more, and I don't know if you've picked up on this as well, with the new drafting format, support bans have sort of become way more of a thing than they ever used to be, because you've got way more bans before you start seeing that next round of picks. I mean, we're now up to 8 bans with only 2 picks at this point, so I don't know if that's been your experience as well, but it has definitely been that a lot of supports have just been getting banned nonstop, and teams have had to be more, I guess, aware of that's been going on.
Yeah, definitely. I've noticed similar things as well, and it really is a change to draft strategy, because the fact that you don't have those 3 picks before the second set of bans means that you have to be very careful if you decide, as for instance Orange have decided here, not to take any supports early on. So if you don't take them in that first phase, by the time you actually hit the second phase, yeah, I mean, you've got obviously the IO and Visage gone, then Shadow Demon and Jakiro, and then the teams at the end sort of drifting into some off-lane bans, some mid bans, and I think Orange will still be happy here securing up the Chen.
Yeah, so this is actually one of, I don't know, I want to call it one of Orange's pocket strats. They'll go for the really, really heavy push. We might even still see another sort of push-oriented carry in here somewhere, maybe. Like, they often run this with, you know, either Gyrocopter or Luna if they can get their hands on it. And then, yeah, the overall strategy is just exactly what you'd expect. Barrel down every lane, take all the towers, take Roshan once, and then go on to win the game. So I think ErH needs to start saying, okay, this is more or less what Orange are going for. Let's get ourselves well positioned to deal with it. There's still a Coddle in the pool. And yeah, I really like the Gyrocopter pickup as well here.
Definitely a hero who's capable of doing some anti-push. He does have that flak cannon only on 30 seconds, but that just so happens to synchronize with every time that a wave is actually going to push in. So he can do quite a bit of anti-push off that ability. And Darkseer, not too bad either. Obviously, he has got the Ion Shell. I think ErH are in okay shape to try to fend off a push, but Orange, I think the strategy from them makes sense. Don't try to let a game go super long against a team that you feel like you can handily beat. Don't let the game go to the extent that things start getting weird and random. And you see them layering on even more push with the second support choice of the Shadow Shaman, of course. As long as he's able to get level 6, and the fact that you are running a Chen means that your other support is going to have less trouble getting levels. He's not fighting for farm with a jungler. And then that means the Shadow Shaman can earn that 6. He did get a minor buff even to the non-Ags ultimate, so it's a little more damage on those Mass Serpent wards, and that actually is something that Flak Cannon will not cure. They'll need even more sort of responses to this.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, so even now maybe the Coddle not looking quite so attractive. So they're already pretty melee heavy between the Nyx Assassin and the Darkseer, so we'll see where they move from this point. One thing for Orange, if they're going to really all-in this push, if ErH pick up their mid and it's not super strong, I'd like to see a Beastmaster from Orange, maybe. I mean, if they're going to all-in the push, but we'll have to see. That's the realm of possibility, I guess.
Sure. They take the Lina here. They do have some setups done in the form of the Nyx Assassin, so this is certainly a lane that can get kills. Probably not so much against the Lifestealer. They really have no instantaneous ability to disable him. So, like, for instance, if the Impale gets thrown out, Lifestealer can just immediately rage in response and get away. But this could be trouble for the Shadow Shaman. I mean, not an especially tanky hero. Has some disables that he can react with, but can certainly get locked down by some Light Strike Array, Rocket Barrage situation.
Yeah, and definitely doesn't... I mean, even when Shadow Shaman gets a lot of farm, he doesn't buy survivability, really, ever. His survivability is 100% positioning, and, I mean, even then, he doesn't have, you know, really great range on his spells or anything like that.
And
so
incredibly slow as well. One of the slowest.
Yeah.
What is it,
285? So he's not going to have a fun time. Yeah, his base move speed is kind of awful.
Yeah,
so.
That's... I mean, 285 is really only 5 better than everybody's favorite Crystal Maiden, so... He's very, very, very limited in his ability to be mobile, and that's going to be a... That's honestly, I think ErH, that's one avenue through which they could try to pick Orange apart. Like, target these supports. If you can get some kills early, if you can secure up First Blood, even if it's not for the Gyrocopter, even if it's just for Nyx Assassin, if you can hit 6 on these supports relatively quickly, Chen and Shadow Shaman are going to find those extremely crimped. And then without those two, the push... Orange is going to rely much, much less on this push that they have with these 3 middle characters and much more on just getting the Lifestealer big, which is, you're already in a far finer position, I feel, than if you are facing down the push without having kills to your name.
Yeah, so they definitely got some good ganking going. Hopefully, yeah, like you said, they'll be able to make a bit of use of it. If you stop Chen early on and you take, you know, the first... If you end up on the front foot against the Chen and you take, you know, the 2 tier 1s, which sort of protect his jungle, then he's kind of done for the game. Like, that's it. So there's definitely room for ErH here to, I think, exploit Orange's lineup, and well, we'll see how they end up rounding it out. And they're really solid so far. They've got a bunch of different lane configurations that they could go for. And one thing that we didn't touch on is just the call down vacuum combo. Not a very long cooldown. It's great for team fights, and it should be up for every single, you know, attempt that Orange go for a push. Though they're not really, reliant on long cooldowns either. So
Certainly.
it should be quite a bit of action this game.
Yeah. And I guess just the mids remaining. Neither team really securing up a mid hero. There are quite a few mid bans. Clockwork we see sometimes in the mid. Then the Dragon Knight actually banned out by Orange, which is interesting. I thought that they might try to squeeze that in for themselves just for even more push. But that's out. Tinker's out, something Orange really loves to play. Storm Spirit and Puck. Do you think they go with something like a Mushi Quap here, or do Orange go a little more adventurous?
I like the idea of just picking up the co-op. I don't feel like they necessarily need another pusher in the lineup. If they get to a tower, the tower is probably dead, right? The question is, you need to be able to get a pick off, you need to enable the push, and having someone who can get behind the tower and start to, cause a bit of chaos that way, I think it's definitely the right kind of decision here.
Yeah, I like the Queen of Pain as well, of course, one of Mushi's specialty heroes, and I agree with you. I think they have plenty of push. Now it becomes more of, if ErH do go for some early game aggression, if they try to get right up in our faces with the Nyx Assassin, the Lina, maybe even the Darkseer rotating over or trying to disrupt Chen's jungle, how do we respond to that? And that's something that they actually wouldn't have been able to do with Dragon Knight at all, because he's just not really mobile early, nor does he really have the tools to fend off like mobile gankers. But Queen of Pain absolutely can, take something like 3 early Scream of Pain, which is, I know, a fairly common Mushi approach, and just blink over and try to kill them before they kill your supports.
Yeah, and here's the big thing as well with the sort of way that the draft played out, is that Orange had to pick up their mid without knowing what ErH were running there, and also because they have the Chen, it's very, very likely that ErH are going to try and take advantage of the weakness of the tri-lane, because,
Sure.
I mean, Orange's tri-lane is effectively a 2.5, right? So you have to expect the aggression, and that means you can't pick up a mid that relies on the supports rotating
Right.
to help you out. So yeah, I think they needed to go for, I guess, a strong, independent mid who don't need no supports, because they had no idea what the mid was going to be from ErH.
Right. But yeah, you're right. Queen of Pain's definitely doing it for themselves. So, ErH fills out with a Templar Assassin. I like this. I think it does reflect a more aggressive posture overall. They sort of understand that the mission here is to try to peel apart some aspect of Orange before Orange goes on the offensive, and the TA could be the choice. The issue for me is that it does set up a sort of showdown in mid with Mushi, who, I don't know, I personally would definitely not be comfortable saying, yeah, I'll go up against you with the Templar Assassin, I'll dodge all your Shadow Strikes with Meld because I'm just that good, as sort of a rising player against, one of the legends of Dota. But, if this reflects the ErH's confidence, then I praise them for it.
Yeah, definitely. So don't forget to turn off overlays.
I know, I just did that. That's absolutely very apropos, because that was idiotic of me yesterday. Alright, let's go ahead and introduce the teams. I'll take up Orange real quick, and then you go ahead and do ErH. So, Orange probably seeking to take a 2-0 here, secure up their advancement from Group C. KYXY in the top on the Lifestealer. Net will be supporting him on Shadow Shaman. Then it will be Extinct in the jungle as Chen, and that leaves Mushi, of course, on the Mushi Quap in the middle. We'll see what kind of wizardry he has planned for us this game. And Ohio, as you mentioned, Base Skip, as the offlane Nature's Prophet.
Yep, and over on the side of ErH, well, they're moving quick, so I guess I gotta do this fast. So AS is gonna be on the Gyrocopter. We've got Yang on the Templar Assassin. We have someone who I'll call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so I guess 1, 2, 3 on the Lina. YR is gonna be on the Nyx Assassin. And finally making his way down towards bot, we have Mao on the Darkseer. So it looks like both teams sort of scoped out one of those lanes reasonably well. KYXY already has the Stout, kind of expects what's going on here. But ErH, if they can get the execution going, then they're going to be in a good spot. Are we going to have a pause?
Or maybe we won't have a pause.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll have a pause. We should just changing some settings around, perhaps his keybinds. I actually thought initially that ErH were trying to maybe go for First Blood. They had everybody except the Darkseer barreling up that lane, but I guess they just saw KYXY sitting back, saw the Stout Shield, and thought that maybe the rest of Orange were behind him. It's a tough call to make. I mean, you're coming up this lane, you see one hero come out and then come back into the jungle. You don't know how many people are behind him, whether that's actually a favorable engagement. I would say that ErH may be slightly favored in a situation like that for First Blood, simply because even the Rocket Barrage can be very, very effective in that sort of clash, but Lifestealer can also just get a kill on you.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chen's basically useless. Shadow Shaman has a little bit of lockdown, but it's not that much, and he doesn't want to be standing next to the gyrocopter.
Yeah, that's true.
At all. So I think the gamble was that if you bring the Darkseer up, then you probably get first blood if you jump someone. But Orange just sizing up the level 1 team fight would probably be like, we don't really want to fight them, so we'll just walk away. And then you end up with this awkward situation where Darkseer has come all the way top.
Right.
He didn't get a kill, and now he maybe misses a wave down bot. So it looks like ErH, they're just going to play it stable, play it safe. And I think that's just sort of a theme for their lineup. They're not heroes that are too outlandish. We're just looking for solid play, and I guess whoever plays well will probably come out on top.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think that ErH, they do have this aggressive ward planted here. They're going to spot out. They have not, you see, they've consciously chosen not to block this camp. So if Shadow Shaman starts to rotate over and try to generate some pulls, ErH will let it happen only to sort of punish it. I think they're gonna swoop in, try to get kills on the Shadow Shaman. Net for now, he doesn't want to show his face here. He doesn't want to put himself in danger, of course. Doesn't have his boots. He actually has about 345 pooled, so my suspicion is we might see fairly early tier 1 boots on this Shadow Shaman. You can see he's not carrying any wards. He has more pooled gold on him than you'd typically expect, or this early on for a support. So I think what this means is get a couple levels, maybe even if you last hits on creeps in tandem with the Chen. And yeah, actually Chen doing all the buying. You can see he already picked up a flying courier, he's got smoke. So this makes a lot of sense to me. Get tier 1 boots to the Shadow Shaman and suddenly you're not nearly as afraid. Yang, meanwhile, already struggling a little bit, I feel, in his Templar Assassin against Mushi.
Yeah, hasn't been doing too well in terms of CS. Mushi goes for the very aggressive stats build, so he's kind of asserting that right now. While Yang, I guess it's a slightly outdated build in a lot of situations. A lot of mids these days haven't been going for the bottle rush at all. It's been stats, try and win the last hit battle. So yeah, he's gonna have his bottle out in a sec, so he will probably be able to recover a bit. But we've already got a rotation coming in from Net and Extinct, so we'll see if this connects.
Oh yeah, this is a quite early smoke coming out from Orange. They decide to head to the mid, not to the mid, but to the top. So they're coming in. They've got a Satyr Tormentor. This is a lot of damage, but no lockdown. But the Shadow Shaman does have a shackle. There, ErH, meanwhile, they're trying to get something to happen on KYXY. No stuns coming out just yet. YR actually stunned down. He's already dead for the first blood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 doesn't look to have any chance to escape. Already a double kill for Chen. Gyrocopter might not make it out of here either. No! Actually, the Satyr Tormentor throwing out quite a bit of damage there, and the last hit goes to Net. And 1, 2, 3 kills. The entire aggressive tri-lane for ErH takes a fall, and not fatal just yet, but not the way they wanted to start.
Yeah, definitely not. And just beautiful focus fire from Orange. They went from target to target to target, no wasted damage anywhere. I mean, exploded the Nyx before the fight really even started. So yeah, good job from them. Going back to that point we were talking about the Rasta not being in lane early on, and I mean, he was kind of a liability at the start of the game, right? At level 1, if they land 1 stun, he dies. The Nakes, he doesn't really help the Nakes at all by standing in the lane, so I really like the choice from Orange. Just leave the Nakes alone. He can catch up in the next 10, 15 minutes, whenever. And that can be that.
ErH.
Mid, Mushi.
Oh, actually, yeah, you're right. In the middle, Mushi takes a complete advantage, places a sentry behind the tier 1 tower, and actually lands his first kill on Yang. So Mushi taking control there, 14-5 to 3-2 in that mid lane. ErH, meanwhile, they got caught out. They tried to use a smoke in the top. Actually got de-smoked while going towards Net. He was, of course, pulling the camps, and that's the one place they didn't check. There's the Light Strike Ray. Mushi takes quite a bit of damage. He's forced to flee. But AS, the test of faith, and one more hit from Ohio is rotated over. Sprout up on YR. He's trying his best to get away. Lena, meanwhile, now she's in complete no man's land. The Impale comes out from YR, trying to provide some space. Mushi, Net, and Extinct all chasing. Lena's going to try to trade up for Mushi. The trade comes out. It's 1 for 1. But Ohio actually dropping, Yang rotating over, YR makes it out. Very nice play from this Nyx Assassin, 2 on the board for ErH, but unfortunately, only after taking even more losses.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, super greedy from Mushi. I mean, nice kills for Orange, but there was just no reason to give the experience to the Lena there, and she's almost level 4 now, so that was a bit of a Mushi play,
yeah, I was
maybe.
gonna say, greedy for Mushi, you don't say?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, he got that kill solo on the mid anyway, so he's still a little way ahead, regardless, on this middle lane. And CS kind of showing it as well. Yeah, he's only got 4, Mushi's sitting up at 15 for 5, so...
Young's
not doing that pretty on the mid.
Definitely. And Mushi placing his second sentry as well. Actually, Young did actually still manage to meld out a Shadow Strike hit, even with the sentry coming down a little bit later. That said, he's not going to be able to do it again. And now he knows. Now he knows there's a sentry ward there, even more so after Mushi actually melees him, or rather hits him with an auto. But returning some damage, and Young, he's stabilizing a little bit as long as... Oh, maybe not. There's the Queen of Pain ultimate, and that's actually Templar Assassin brought down, even as I said, maybe he has a chance. Mushi just flipping it right around with that ultimate, getting the mana for it with the remaining charge of the bottle, and just blowing up TA. And I mean, this is a lineup they knew would be difficult, and it's really just panned out.
Yeah, and Orange's movements have just been beautiful so far this game, and Net and Extinct making their way top one more time, so this might be the nail in the coffin for the trial lane if it goes the same way that it did the last time.
If this smoke pays off with a kill, I just don't see how they can sustain the trial lane from that point. They are going to come in just a second, again being extremely patient. Net, for some reason, taking a little bit of Hellbear damage. And actually, they rotated one bottom, so maybe trouble for Ohio here. Ohio dueling it out with Mao. The ultimate comes out. Lena's here. Light Strike Ray will actually miss, but they should still be able to get Ohio. Yes, they do. And that's a kill. That's a nice rotation from Lena there, generating a little bit of an opportunity for ErH. But yeah, I mean, she won't be able to get back to top for a decent while, and so that's an opportunity with the open wounds from KYX to take advantage. Shadow Shaman throwing out his Ether Shock, but not enough. Gyrocopter makes it out, uses his healing salve, and even just to escape is not so bad for ErH now that this is effectively a dual lane.
Yeah, so they made it out. Nicely played by YR, prevented the Shadow Shaman from getting too much closer. What is going on over here?
Shadow Strike. Mushi once again chasing Yang. He's trying to find the right time to use his refraction. Sentry Ward comes up. He immediately comes back out of meld form, trying to make his way to the mid. Unfortunately, refraction is down. Will Mushi seek to chase? He doesn't really have the mana unless he uses his regeneration. So he'll peel off, wait a little bit. He uses Scream of Pain once again. Young, very low indeed, actually. He's got one more refraction available. Got to be very careful because, of course, regen up in this bottle for Mushi. And he's pressuring, just going to go into the tower. My suspicion is he dives right under that tower and screams of pain, the TA, for Mushi's third kill of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, Mushi didn't even lose the regen, so he's back and topped off. That was a bit strange. I think TA was trying to bait Mushi in, but in the end just dies, and that's the end of the story.
Perhaps he didn't check for what was in the bottle. If it's anything other than regen, he's in a little better shape since TA can't just jump in and use the bottle for immediate. Oh no, Lena in a lot of trouble here. There's the Shackles from Shadow Shaman. The Nature's Prophet ultimate comes through. That's one down. Nyx Assassin doing his best. Impales only on one. Net actually picking up his third kill of the game. So this Shadow Shaman doing some work. You can see he's maxing Ether Shock first, or at least getting it to level 3, and that makes it very, very appreciable damage, especially on squishy targets like Nyx and Lena. And that'll be the first tower for Orange, pretty much right on schedule. 8-minute push is typically what you want on Chen. In the top, KYXY just chasing AS, brings him down, just using one of those open wounds, full stack rage, and he's well beyond the tier 2 tower. But Lena, missing the Light Strike Array, doesn't quite have her ultimate yet. And KYXY going to ride the train on out of here with Infest.
All aboard, yeah. I don't think that was necessarily timed by him, but the creep wave pretty much spawned right as he got that kill. So that was
it's more of an
that was a free ticket home.
Style jumping on the back of the train than a ticket to the train. Yeah, I agree.
So Orange, they're in a really good spot right now. They've been just, I mean, again, moving beautifully around the map, and looks like Mao's now in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, he's actually locked down by the Centaur and the Dark Troll Warlord. There's the stomp. Mao very low, but he's maybe tries to turn it around. He does have Surge still available. Ion Shell is up on him, trying to get Net. Actually, Net, before he dies, very smart presence of mind there, throwing out one more Ether Shock to pick off the Darkseer from range. And 1-for-1 a trade not really favoring ErH, but up here, Lena gets the stun on Mushi. He's quite low. Has to use the Chen ultimate Extinct with some quick thinking there as well, using the rest of his mana, get Mushi on out of there, as he was in a lot of danger. Here's Ohio to clean up. Actually, the Light Strike Array, was this overly greedy from him? No, he does get the Lena pick off. Nyx Assassin trying to chase. Young here as well, uses the Templar Assassin trap. One more hit to the trick. Actually, Ohio, some nutrients? No, he will drop. Extinct now in a little bit of trouble. No more mana left for him, but he does have Ensnare. No, he doesn't. Ensnare not available for the Summoner, but Young just getting beaten on this body block from the Treants. Here comes Net back in, Shackle Shot. Chen might just pick him off the easy way. Yes, he does. Extinct with another kill. 3-0-4, and That was just Young thinking he had much more of an advantage than he actually did, especially once the Shadow Shaman came to reinforce.
Yeah, I mean it's just Chen, right? What can go wrong? Well, there's a lot more than just Chen, and even just the Treants being there. You know, you don't have any refraction charges against that, and without refraction, TA starts to look a hell of a lot squishier. So a bit of an overextension, perhaps. You know, you could call it from ErH. They are slowly being pushed back, but I mean, things not going terribly just yet. Orange are really finding their stride though, so well, hopefully they can stabilize, get that map presence going, and start to look for some pickoffs, because they do have a pretty good pickoff oriented lineup. They just have to kind of get the ball rolling.
One concern is, yeah, I think not only do they want to get the ball rolling, I'm not sure it's an option for them. They have Laguna Blade now for Lina, but at this point you have to be somewhat concerned about the struggles of the Gyrocopter. I mean, he only has 17 last hits. This is not developing into a late-game fighting force by any stretch of the imagination. Ohio ducking what he must have realized was a partial gank coming from Yan and AS there, so he's out. Meanwhile, Mao gets found out in the jungle once again. Extinct now spending more time in the opposing jungle than his own. And that's another kill for Orange, now with a 15-5 kill lead. Net and Mushi actually wrapping around the back. Mushi building towards his Orchid Malevolence. Yan and AS are just fleeing that Ether Shock, doing tremendous damage. Mushi coming in with the Stream of Pain. Double kill already. Lina with the Laguna Blade. Actually, I think used it on an illusion. And Mushi, don't mess with his illusions, as he responds immediately with the Sonic Wave just to get Lina. So maybe a little overkill, but, you know, a kill is a kill. And that'll improve him to 7-1-4 as KYXY and Ohio clean up the tier 2 top. And that, I think, is a door almost slamming shut in the ErH's face. Those were a set of deaths that they probably could not have given up and hoped to keep any map control. YR coming right back in. The Ensnare from Dark Troll already up on him. His Spiked Carapace doesn't come to anything, but they're still trying to make an attempt to chase. Young, unfortunately, no items up on this TA, not even tier 2 boots. Mushi way out on the frontier here, but he's forced off. He doesn't really have bottles, so not much in the way of mana. They actually need to dodge these Shadow Shaman wards. There's a couple hits on Ohio. The Chen ultimate coming out. Ohio still alive, actually. Now attempting to chase, but 2 on the ground already. 3. The call down misses. Ohio with the jukes. And AS can't even get the final hit on this Nature's Prophet, who's now back up to more than half health after being at a sliver. And Orange at this point just taking total control. Mushi jumps forward even as he's sent back to get some more mana at home, finishing his Orchid Malevolence. 12 minutes, 22 seconds for that. Even as KYXY deems this team fight not even worth his time. He's going to push into the tier 3. Open wounds, actually. YR going to get brought down even as he comes to try to impale here. That's 6 second... Ooh, actually, he's got to ride the train out again. He chooses to infest as Impale was on its way in there. And another tower for Orange in tier 2 bottom. Any hope for ErH? What do they need to do?
I mean, I feel like Mao should have so much more farm than he does. I mean, he was 1v1 against Nature's Prophet Share. Oh, KYXY. What is going on here? No, looks like it'll be fine.
They have any disables for that. Takes some damage on his way out, but just, I think, felt comfortable.
Yeah, so he's fine to escape. But, I mean, yeah, the Darkseer is kind of underfarmed. I was expecting a bit of a faster mech, to start turning around these team fights a little bit, but it's not anywhere near completion at this point, so... Yeah, ErH, I'm not sure what they do. They do have, again, that nice little team fight combo between the Vacuum and the Call Down, and that sort of kicks in once Orange try and push up onto the high ground, but Orange, they don't really care about their own jungle. They've taken full control of the Radiant side of the map, and I mean, this is exactly what they do every time they run this kind of strategy. They get a tiny advantage, and they will just never relent, unless you can kill them enough to get them out of your side of the map.
Oh, actually, and snare up on Young. Will Mushi? No, he chooses not to. I mean, this is great when you've got this Chen and Nature's Prophet. You can do so much with your map control. Like, it's one thing to just take control of someone's jungle by bringing down the tier 1 and tier 2. It's another thing to take map control of their jungle and bleed it dry with a Chen and Nature's Prophet that are constantly taking creeps out. I mean, Gyrocopter, to catch up at this point, would need a lot of the last hits from that jungle. He would need to be able to have his support stack camps to take care of that, and Nature's Prophet and Chen are not going to let that happen. Mao looping around, maybe trying to get a favorable vacuum positioning here, but not quite able to do so. Mushi with the double damage runes, they're going to have to be careful about what they do here. Mechanism, of course, up for Extinct, so they got to be very careful about the pursuits. He has the ultimate as well. KYXY looping around. Lina with the Surge might be able to escape to high ground, just use their magic wand to do the rest. Nature's Prophet, Wrath of Nature coming through. Lean actually on the low guard, trying to save Nyx Assassin. Maybe that was overly speculative. There's the Sonic Wave, now quite low. Nice vacuum with the Chen ultimate. The mechanism, they don't have nearly enough damage to shoot through 2 sets of HP for everybody. And ErH, all 5 on the ground. Orange going to push through the middle, and this was painful to see from ErH. I mean, the aggressive tri-lane, it worked for a little bit, but too much display of skill from Extinct and Net, rotating over and making that. And the Templar Assassin in the end, maybe overly confident that that battle would go in favor of her rather than the Quap. Was there another choice, though?
I mean, I think the problem was that Orange just got such a good read on what ErH's strategy was going to be.
Right.
You know, if you feel that they felt that it was a losing situation at top, so they just said, well, we're going to lose that lane if we go 3v3, so we'll just leave the Nakes there. He does what he does best, and you know, we'll bring people back later when they've got a couple of levels, and then we'll try and deal with it.
Right,
So.
right. Yeah, Orange, I honestly thought was just, they completely starved the main aspect of what ErH were doing. They probably thought, well, at least we'll get kills on the Shadow Shaman, but instead they couldn't find the Shadow Shaman. Mao actually going to try to make something happen. YR is a chicken. Ohio once again walking away from a fight at extremely low HP. He's actually going to TP out Nyx Assassin. No, the Vendetta doesn't quite get it. A body blocked by the Shadow Shaman wards. It actually leads to the end of the Gyrocopter. And only Yang alive, and not for very long, as they do have this gem up on, I believe, Chen. Yes, they do, and that's once again ErH. They feel like they haven't gotten a kill in ages, and probably going to see a GG coming out soon, as they were just completely stymied in every aspect of play by Orange after the extremely early game.
Yeah, I mean, this was just clinical from Orange. It was this is their strategy. They know exactly how to run it, and yeah, unless you're prepared for it, I guess there's just not a whole lot that you can do. And looks like KOXY wants one more kill, and he might get it. No, not quite.
Yeah, it's only 6. Oh, it once the 3rd time this game. Oh, they might actually get the streak at least riding it. So there's the stun. Maybe they kill KOXY finally. That was the thorn in their side that they're obviously happy to be rid of. Maybe they catch Extinct as well. These are kind of nominal kills, just pride kills, retain your honor a little bit. He still uses mechanism. He's actually got 1 second soul stone, but he doesn't have the mana to cast it. There's the Holy Missile. Laguna Blade, sorry, I should say Light Strike Ray will take care of the rest. They actually get Ohio too, and a gem for Nyx Assassin, and the sad thing is, even all that might not be enough for tier 2 boots. Okay, at least Gyrocopter's got them, but TA, Brown booting it all game. I mean, this is really the tale of the tape. You can't have your mid-Templar Assassin go 0-7 and hope to have a game that's even in a winnable state. Mushi, oh god. Orchid Malevolence comes out. Young completely intelligently responds to TP, and he's okay. Thank goodness he had a TP on hand.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at the net worth, you know, Darkseer has 3k, Chen has 7k. It starts to, and that's you know top to bottom. It starts to look a bit scary when you kind of take the game in that way. But
yeah,
I mean, ErH, nice little fight, got some kills.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, getting 8 kills versus having 5 kills is, you're much more comfortable with that. I feel like you don't want to be down 33-2 simply because of the implications, but being down 33-8, it's, you know, it's respectable.
Yeah, you know, you're closing the multiplier, I guess. Before it was 15 times, now it's
They're going for
much
Mushi.
less
They got
than
the
50.
Vendetta available. Where is the stun? They don't quite get it. I think they were low ground and Mushi was high ground, so the vision wasn't quite there. They didn't want to go for a purely speculative. Mushi shoots out the Sonic Wave. He's still got Dagon available if he wants to. He does use it to pick off Mao. Beyond Godlike Streak for Queen of Pain, how often do we see Orchid and Dagon as the only 2 items? Yang actually shut down with those shackles. In a little bit of trouble himself. Already the Lina on the ground, and Young, of course, and AS back in his fountain. Still with just Ring of Protection and Bracer. It's more or less over, I would have to say. ErH just going to go to a game 2 and hope that they can, maybe, I guess, as you said, mask their strategy better. Perhaps they were too obvious. Perhaps it was too evident to Orange what they were trying to do, and so all they had to do is play keep away for a level or 2 with the Shadow Shaman and then engage on their terms.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there are definitely some things that you can take away from this and, you know, mix things up next game. So, okay, here's the problem, I guess. If you say, okay, we lost the tri-lane, we're not feeling confident to try Orange, so we're going to try and force it into both teams having defensive tri-lanes. Well, if Orange catch wind of that, then they're not going to let you get away with it. They're going to bring their tri-lane down, you know, they're going to do what they want, so
You're
yeah,
absolutely right.
yeah, you have to be more subtle, I guess.
Yeah. And it's going to be difficult. The other thing, of course, is that
Radiant's middle
they'll have to
tower
find a way to
is
solve the
falling.
middle, because the middle matchup in this game was, there's still a fight going on just outside the fountain, but I don't have too much to say about this, even in play-by-play capacity. The TA versus Quap matchup, it's theoretically a matchup that TA can be okay in, but it's so execution dependent, and you're gambling that your mid player can, take Mushi in a duel by such a comfortable margin that it overwhelms the fact that it's not a favorable
Radiant's
lane.
middle tower is
And
under attack.
that's quite a gamble to make. Unfortunately, it's not one that paid off for ErH here. They didn't rotate the supports over to generate pressure on Mushi. Of course, we saw a team try to do that earlier in this ECL group stage, and they got 4 kills on Mushi, and it didn't matter at all. But I think in this game, perhaps trying to exert more pressure on Queen of Pain might have at least helped TA not end the game with brown boots, which is definitely not how you want the.
Yeah, I mean exactly. If you can, and that sort of ties into the idea of not looking for the try v try, because then when you have the try v try, the supports can't leave, and then it comes down to that 1v1 man fight. And if you're not confident then that you can win that man fight, then you have to try and avoid the aggressive. Well, you have to try and avoid the tri lane versus tri lane. But
Definitely.
I don't know, ErH, they're gonna have to. Yeah, I think they played well. I don't think it was necessarily as one-sided as it looks on the final score screen, so looking forward to the next
They
game.
had some pretty decent team fight. In the end, they just couldn't reckon with all of the elements that Orange could put out. The Queen of Pain really stitched this lineup together in that it wasn't just limited to push. All of a sudden, they had extremely potent team fight, and if you can't kill them extremely quickly, they'll just clean you up entirely. And again, we saw ErH, they actually have great focusing and coordination in terms of who they hit. Unfortunately, Chen was just the scale tipper time and time again. I mean, 9-2 Chen is something you don't see every day, but Extinct had a fantastic game. Just mechanism and hand of God every time, say, Ohio got close to death, and really covering the escape of whoever ErH were trying to focus. So that'll be Game 1. We'll go up into Game 2 in just a second, folks. This is Beyond the Summit 2, covering ECL Group C group stage play. Back in just a moment.